The interesting thing is I hear about people that struggle with mental health, and listening to their story, there's often an inciting incident, something that happened in their childhood that was the trigger for the rest of the path down this complicated and sometimes dark place. And I had a great, normal childhood, right? I was not a victim of any type of abuse. I didn't lose a loved one early on. Very nuclear family that maybe that's part of the problem. Is the script is that everything's supposed to work out just right. Everything is as Norman Rockwell would paint it. And what my issue is that that was an unreasonable set of expectations, and I developed year after year after year this belief that I could never live up to these expectations. And the younger sibling of just two boys, and my brother's really smart, really successful, really good at a lot of things. And I just thought I can't be that. And so I learned to fear failure, and failure and inadequacy were my crutches for a long, long time, and don't know that I ever really came to terms with that. I just struggled and moved from the city to the township when I was moving from elementary to middle school, which was a big social setback. And so I developed this withdrawal slowly. I think you could survey every person that I graduated from high school with, and I would venture a guess that 2/3 of them wouldn't know who I was, wouldn't know that I was present. I just slipped into the background. I didn't get attention because I was the star student and I wasn't failing. I was just a nice B- kid that didn't need any extra attention, and that became comfortable, was just not getting extra attention. Now, I was a foolish kid, and I definitely got attention, but not in that way, right? So this built up and really struggled to, because high school was never really a priority. I graduated, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and that fed more into this narrative I had written for myself, was that I was never going to be wildly successful in any way. So I went through, when my wife and I were expecting our first child, I went through a massive career change. I decided that I hated everything I had been doing, and I finally thought that I knew what I wanted to do with my life. And so I went back to school, and we moved in with my in-laws, and here we are again. This is a storybook unsuccessful individual that can't provide and has to ask of this type of sacrifice of his family. But I ended up going into teaching, loving it, and I think that I was an outstanding teacher. And after about 8 years of teaching, I found myself in circumstances where I was really struggling, and I was battling some things. Still loved my classroom element, but it was clear that it was time to move on from that as a profession. And it was heartbreaking to me, because I thought everything that my family has done to support me, and here I am, and I know that I need to leave this, but I don't know what I need to do. And when that hit as a reality, I found myself literally sobbing on the floor, because everything that I had done, everything that I had asked them to do, left us in this place where I didn't see a future. I had no idea. The thing that I was finally good at and successful, but not successful in a financial way. I mean, we were on the verge of bankruptcy because that's what teacher life was in that district at that time. So we're in this financial hole, and now it's going to be even worse because there's no light at the end of this tunnel. And it was a really dark place. And I sought out a lot of help from people trying to get ideas about what to do, how to move forward. The thing that saved me from the ultimate worst was that a young friend had lost a loved one early in their life to suicide. And that always thankfully stayed with me because my thought process was that my family that is now in this predicament because I cannot succeed, I'm completely inadequate, would be better off if I could find a way. I had a decent life insurance policy, right? And so I thought life without me would be easier than life with me had been after all that we had gone through. I'm grateful that I knew of that friend's circumstance because it kept me from just starting the car in the garage and going to sleep, which I wanted to do so bad. Thankfully, I was able to find a therapist that started getting me into a healthier place, started talking to me, forced me to come to terms with the things that I was good at and the role that I had in this world. I had built some resentment regarding a number of people that I thought, when I did come to terms with the fact that I was a good person, that I was doing the right things, that there's no reason within me why I shouldn't be successful. Then I started to cast that onto others, and I thought, well, I'm just a victim, and I can't overcome that, right? And so now I was carrying my weight of things that I thought that people had done to me. And so that journey had to be one where I was forgiving others. And what was important was that I had to forgive them for me, not for them. Because they might have not necessarily have been sorry for anything that they did, might not even be aware of anything that they did that I chose to allow to affect me. That was really our breakthrough, was we had been meeting for several months, and I was maintaining, but I was still looking forward to going to bed every night and not looking forward to getting up.
It wasn't just the principle of forgiveness that was the breakthrough, because it's really easy to say forgive people. It's a lot harder to actually do that. What my therapist had me do was to write letters to the people that I was holding on to this resentment from. And I was resistant to that at first. I thought, first of all, do you know what year it is? We don't write letters anymore. But the nice thing about the letter is she never required me to send the letter. And I think that might have been a deal breaker for me. But she had me keep rewriting and redrafting the letter. And the letter was not good enough until I actually believed it. Until I could put words on the page that took the victim out of it and just simply forgave the people that I thought had wronged me. And when I remember how proud I was when I finally had the one letter in particular, and I could feel the anger and the resentment and the extra weight that was putting on me and not on them. I could feel that leave me. And I felt that specific feeling like I can move on now and I can re-experience joy and let it last and not be something that was fleeting, So it's funny that I've shared that advice with so many people since. And I don't know, that's the beautiful thing about therapy is I'm not a trained professional. I'm just somebody that has experienced healing. So I can give that advice and it might help somebody. But a trained therapist is somebody that can listen to the details of your experience, your very unique experience that is all valid. And they can help you to come up with something that is going to help you. Just help you to move forward, help you to see the value in getting up the next day. There is a quote that I drew a lot of strength from, and I wish I knew the exact quote, but it talks about the analogy of being in a boat on a stormy night and not sure that you're going to make it. And the speaker tearfully pleads with all of us to stay in that boat, to cling on because the sun will rise. And I wasn't looking forward to sunrises before. I'm a morning person now. I love every morning without caffeine even. But I look forward to what I can do to impact the world each day, to what I can do to have fun. The experiences of my past that were hurting me for so long, it's not until I'm talking to somebody else when I find out that they're hurting and I share those experiences, those don't haunt me anymore. They're tools in my resource belt to share that you're not alone. Most of us hurt. Maybe not right now, but we have, and we probably will again. But we know ways to get through. Breaking your leg once hurts a lot. I don't know, it's never happened to me. I've been pretty lucky that way. But I assume that breaking your leg once hurts a lot. And we have a plan. We have medicine that says this is what we should do when that happens. And for most people, that's probably the only time they're going to break their leg. For some, they break their leg again. And they go through a very similar process. Maybe it's an arm. Whatever it is, physically, we know that over the course of our lives, we're going to go to the hospital. We should go to a doctor every single year. Once we reach certain ages, we should have tests all the time because that's what we know about modern medicine physically. There are still some things that we're looking for solutions for. Mentally, we should treat it the same. We're going to have hard experiences, but they don't need to be hard forever. That we don't need to live in that hardship. So everyone that sees this video, that sees this series of videos, know that these are a great resource and they're a great starting point on your journey. Please believe me that you can be happier and healthier than you are if you're hurting now. I mean, we always all can be, but whether you're hurting, whether it's somebody that you know and love that's hurting, help them. Tell them that it's okay to seek that help, to find a therapist. We've got great resources in the Great Lakes Bay region, and I want to be able to celebrate better health with people. I will talk to anyone that I need that is struggling to help them to stay in that boat and to see that sunrise.